Oh, we streaming. We are streaming. Hello, hello. Live at Sun and Base. Oh, unable to connect. Connect. Sending data. Right, the Facebook one is not coming up. Right. It says it's streaming. Okay. Hey. It's Gooder. Gooder's already in the chat. It's the penultimate day. And one more thing, Sun and Base Social. In what could potentially be a very stormy afternoon. So we're definitely on Twitch. We got Gooder on Twitch, live and direct. Yeah, there's something up with right. Wow. Be careful how you... Wow. That was a really eventful way to start this penultimate stream. Let's come a little closer. We've got our first guest. We are joined by Kiljoy, and we came in on the same flight, didn't we?
Hunted for a bit?
Oh, no. It was something... No. Right. Weirdly, I'm confusing you with Jay Kenzo because he's also brought his family.
There you go.
You don't really look at anything like him at all. But he brought his family and you brought your family. That
Yes.
is why I've made this confused thing. Was literally running on a couple of hours sleep every single night here. Especially when people like you are playing amazing sets. Like
Thank
that
you.
was last night was your night, wasn't it?
Yes, it was fun. I haven't had that much fun playing a set since last year at Sun and Base.
Wow.
So, yeah, the crowd's just mental and they just eat it up. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is one of the most kind of the most consistent things you can say about Sun and Base. Really, is the fact that you can play what you want. There isn't the crowd will accept anything. If you want to go deep, if you want to go hard, if you want to go experimental,
it's more than accept. Like they're knowledgeable. Like you'll start playing a tune, like an old tune, and you can see the recognition in the faces, and that's really nice, you know.
Yeah.
Even stuff of yours, they'll hear it coming in, and it's like really attentive and really educated.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a treat.
Definitely. I mean, this is kind of all new to you. I remember talking to you about Sun and Base when we've done a few interviews. And I did your comeback interview in a way. So viewers watching now on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Facebook, if you're unsure about Kiljoy's history, and you've been part of the scene and were part of an incredibly groundbreaking international act prior to the Kiljoy chapter that you're currently thriving in now, isn't it?
Yeah, I was one half of Concord Dawn, from the late 90s through to when Matt and I separated in like 2007, I think. We split up, and he continued on. And I moved out of drum and bass for a bit, and then we chatted. I was just telling the guys, we chatted after I had my first release back as Kiljoy in 2018.
Yeah.
And you were sending me music of like Doc Scott playing Here on the Beach. And you're like, listen to this.
Yes.
Because I'd accidentally gotten back into producing music again. Like it wasn't the intent to do this again. This is accidental.
Brilliant.
I'm just happy to be here.
I love that. So that's like a really, really happy accident. Remind me now how that came about, because you just like accidentally just ending up in a studio and accidentally turning on Logic and
Studios a push. It was a laptop on the kitchen table. So we had moved to the Cook Islands, which is in the middle of the Pacific, middle of nowhere, and I was halfway through doing a computer science degree remotely with a university. And as a study break, I would open Fruity Loops and just start playing around with breaks and things. And I ended up finishing a piece of music, and I sent it to a few friends of mine. And they said, this just sounds old. No one listens to this anymore. No one plays this kind of music anymore. And then I sent it to Steve Digital, and he said that the next comment was, can you do me a B-side? And that's how the first release on Function for Kiljoy eventuated.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he was like, nah, we need more of this. And he's really gotten behind me, and he's really championed me and kind of motivated me to kind of do what I want. Because I didn't want to chase a carrot and do what I heard happening in the modern drum and bass stuff. Nothing against it, but it just didn't have anything in it for me. And I like breaks, I like rave music, I like that old thing. And Steve was just like, I like that too. So you just do that. You do the music you love, and I will give you a place to release it. And yeah.
That's brilliant. And we need more viewpoints like that. Instead of pandering to what trends currently are, it's just doing what you want to do. Because otherwise, everybody's just in this weird, ever-diluting echo chamber. If we're constantly kind of chasing what's relevant, nothing ever actually comes out fresh in that way.
Yeah, I think there's some healthiness in a scene for that to happen as well. But I think if you have stuck in the mud, kind of old, like shaking their fists at the sky, guys like me, we're kind of the force the opposite way to help, give some balance to the force. But I don't know. I just I'd done enough in the later stages of Concord Dawn, kind of over-analysing what we were doing as music. And I didn't want to do that again. I just wanted to do exactly what I wanted to do, very selfishly.
Yeah.
And I get to do that.
I mean, creativity in itself is kind of it's a very selfish pursuit in that way, in the best possible term. I mean, selfishness isn't that's a negative kind of connotation, but it is. You have to be completely. I think that some of the best creativity comes about from being incredibly dog-minded and incredibly stubborn and sticking to what you want to do. Really, in a way.
Well, when I think about when I'm working on a tune, I think if there was 500 me's in the crowd, what would I want to hear? So rather than thinking about what other people might want based on other music that they're listening to, I just think, what would I want to hear and how would I react to it? So that's where my ego comes into it, and that the selfishness, but it's a good, creative, positive thing.
Yeah, definitely. I saw somebody, people asked, well, who's your favourite DJ? It was one of those stupid questions on Facebook. And somebody popped up saying, I am my favourite DJ. And at first I thought, you arrogant cock. And then I thought, no, hang on a minute. Yeah, I'm my favourite DJ. Because if I'm not my favourite DJ, then why the hell wouldn't I be playing those particular records?
Yeah, I'm definitely not my favourite DJ.
Well, I mean, Marky's my favourite DJ, but in terms of, listening to what I want to. But then there is also like the natural act of actually reading the crowd and looking out and seeing, right, okay, do I take it hard? Do I give them a bit of a break? Do I take it completely left side and stuff like that? And that's, I think, where the dialogue and the understanding, the empathy for the ravers comes in, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, last night it was really nice. Like, you could look down and you could, see the people that were connecting with the different tunes, and not everyone was connecting with the same ones. Like, these guys over here were into like the big breaks with the Reeses, and these ones down here were kind of more into the older optical tunes, because I played a bunch of old stuff last night. It was fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about that. I'm like, I'll play old stuff.
Yeah. But I was raving with Benny L at the time for your set, and something came in. It was a real kind of, it was a very virusy kind of two-steppy type, but was like very, very sharp edge thing. And Benny was like, oh, it's
tonight,
Yeah, brilliant. You've got to follow the vibe of the night, really. So I've been thinking of that conversation that we had in the Sun and Bass mixes that I sent you, and it was Doc Scott and D-Bridge,
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Back to back. And possibly a Mark System one that I might have sent you as well.
Yes, you
Cleveland
did.
Watkis.
You remember better than I do.
Yeah. It's because I'm such a nerd about those mixes, and I've carried those. I feel like I've been to Sun and Bass more than I have because of mixes like that.
Yeah.
Really, this is only my second time, but this must have been real kind of highlights for you because you're here with your family, so you're having a bit of a kind of holiday and stuff like that as well. So you haven't been able. You're not here to just go out and soak up all of the beats and stuff.
No, I mean I don't do that anyway. I've become quite an old man. But no, I went out on I think it was Monday night, and I saw Chris Sue, my friend Chris Sue, play.
Oh,
and
go on! He was the first guest on this series of streams that we had on Sunday. Yeah,
I
legend.
love Chris. Yeah, no, he's great. And I went and watched his set, and I saw a bit of break set. And that was wicked.
Exceptional.
Yeah, I caught a bit of Marky last night, and of course, like Steve and Jane, Digital and Storm,
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we've got Storm coming up with any luck, and there might be a storm in the weather as well. And if you recall, a couple of streams ago, so do you want to put your USB in and we'll play it?
Sure.
Too? So if you remember a couple of streams ago, Jumping Jack Frost said he might pop in on a Thursday. Fabio and Groove Rider also said they might pop along. What with the weather and it being quite early in the afternoon and all, I don't know, they might be sitting in their hotels actually watching this, so big up guys, but I'm watching. So I'm just kind of checking that everything's okay. It does look like the stream is going down a bit, but we're recording this. So I'm just going to roll with that because I've learned from my mistakes previously. I'm going to keep this chill because I'm looking at these mad clouds behind, and I think there's other bigger things to worry about. What are you going to play us first?
All right, so this is the one piece of finished music that I have done for my forthcoming album on Function, which I've promised digital for 4 years. So that's how slowly I work.
Wow. This is the only, then this is just the one finished tune.
This is the one finished tune so far. I promise I'm going to work faster on it. But yeah, this, called Beholder.
Ooh. Let's go back to
You're in tune with the One More Thing Sun Bass Social. Keep it locked.
Wow. Did you road test this last night?
I did. I've been sitting on this for 18 months, I think, so far.
Oh. Wow. So that's the first finished tune from an album that's 4 years in the making, or 4 years since it was requested.
4 years since it was requested. 3 years after I said I'd deliver it. possibly 4 years until it's delivered. We'll see.
Wow. The best things, though, do take time, and they shouldn't be hurried in any type of way.
Yeah, and I'm going to be fussy about it. I'm not just going to bash a bunch of stuff out and go, here's an album, What's the point,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It needs to be an artistic statement. It needs to be something that really means something, or otherwise there's so much music and there's so much, like, if you want longevity and you want it to be a true authentic reflection of where you're at and what you want to say, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's not for want of trying. I've probably got about 60 or 70 attempts at writing something, but I hate them all. So, in fact, I have in the last week written a piece of music. I played it last night as well, and it's the first thing I've written since this that I don't hate. So that's possibly, when I finish it, the second track for the album. So maybe I'll just put out a single. I don't know.
I mean, this is the endless curse of the creative pursuit, really, isn't it? That harsh inner critic. Constantly, and we were talking about it yesterday with London Electricity, and he actually went on a course and uses. It was a course. It was like finish making music, and the whole idea was to write tracks literally to throw them away.
Yeah,
you wrote tracks literally, like you're just in it for the process, the whole idea. But by the end of it, you actually end up liking them. So you're kind of coming in on it from a flip point of view, really, which I thought was really interesting. If you think you're going to throw it away, then eventually you actually start seeing the positives in it.
Yeah, and you don't spend as much time obsessing over the things which aren't important, and then you actually get to finish it. I mean, this is all advice that I've given to like songwriters and artists before, but I never follow it myself.
Yeah, practice what you preach.
Oh man, I probably should hold my tongue and not give people advice before I follow it myself.
Well, speaking of people who give advice, people who are teachers, let's bring on the next guest now. Your B2B sparring partner from last night, Andrew, aka Outrage, previously known as Nominate, previously before that known as Outrage, and before that was known as Rage. I know him as Andrew. Oh, we got another microphone as well, so you can. There we go.
Drop some bars here, back to back.
All right.
Brilliant. So let's all, budge over. How are you doing?
Mate?
How are you doing, man?
Yeah, good, mate. Good, yeah.
Cool. How did you feel about last night?
Loved it.
Yeah.
I think it worked really well with Evan. Bounced off of each other.
Yeah, because not all back-to-backs work as well, do they?
And we've never done it.
No.
So, so it's just, but Steve and Jane thought about it, and they knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Did you speak about it? Did you have a little kind of pre-game?
Probably not
chat?
as much as people would think. Like, literally, 5 minutes beforehand, we did like paper, rock, scissors to see who started first, and then we're like, should we just play threes?
We just kept getting the same thing for 10 minutes. Like,
Oh, I love it when that happens, when you go in this loop, you're reading each other's mind. That's a good sign for a B2B.
Yeah.
If you're coming up with the same one all of the time, unless you're drawing for the same tunes. I love back-to-backs. So when they really work, they really, really work, don't they?
Yeah.
It's a musical conversation. There's a bit of telepathy going on. There's a bit of kind of looking into the future and thinking, right, okay, like almost like a game of musical chess with each other. So you're not competing. A musical ballet dance. I don't know. Enough with the analogies. How do you feel about back-to-backs in general?
Yeah, it was quite funny, actually. The conversation we did have a few hours before, Evan said to me, just to let you know, I've only got Amen and Reese tunes. And I was like, all right, cool. So I was swerving those types of tunes, and we got an hour in, and I said, mate, you haven't even dropped an Amen and Reese tune yet. So then for the last half hour, we went all out.
Yeah, that was funny. But it was the vibe of the crowd. Like, it was going in a different direction. So it was like, it's going here. Yeah.
It's good. It's all good. Like I say, if it works, it's great, right? Obviously.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is you're in a really exciting place, I think, musically, because you've been on such a journey, and we were talking about this the other day when we saw each other, that now people know you more as Outrage. But for the last 10, 12, 14 years, most people have known you as Nominate. But when I'm talking to people like, kind of in their earlier 20s or like kind of newer drum and bass people, they're like, oh, do you mean Outrage? So you've gone back to an old alias that I think for a long time you thought was in the past.
Well, we've had quite a few conversations. Nominate represented a certain period of my life, recovery, just a lot of stuff. And I fell back in love with the process of making drum and bass in recent years, just before COVID, when I said to Steve, I want to do an Outrage album. Do you want to put it out on Function? And then he was like, yeah, and that was it. And I've literally, as I said to you before, I've fallen back in love with the production of drum and bass because I feel more competent as a producer. So now I'm listening to all the stuff that inspired me from back in the day, and I'm like, I know how they did that, and like I can technically analyse it.
Right.
And now I'm better at realising the ideas I have in my head, whereas before it was a bit of potluck,
Right.
flinging some sounds together, which is great. That's a great way of working. But now I can strategically analyse things and put things together with control, and that feels really exciting right now. So I've just fallen back. I feel like a teenager again with drum and bass, which is, I guess, that 10-year. It wasn't really a break, but it kind of was, obviously, because I dipped in a bit, but primarily it was other tempos and stuff. So yeah.
I remember, I think there was a Nominate back-to-back Outrage set on one lineup. I'm pretty sure, like almost like a Kenny Ken back-to-back Kenny Ken, or am I dreaming that?
Nah, promoters, it's good actually, but sometimes I get booked as Nominate versus Outrage, and it'll be an extended set where I can just go from 120 BPM all the way up to drum and bass and jungle, and I can go through rave, and which is great because that you can really take it on a journey to the point where I've been on tour even recently to Australia, and it never quite happened, but there was 2 promoters on the same night. One wanted to book me in Perth as Nominate on one night, and on the same night a different promoter wanted to book me as Outrage.
What?
It didn't quite work out, but often,
That would have been mad.
Yeah.
Well,
So, but it's cool because I like so many different styles of music, man. Like I genuinely do, and to be able to, and that was another reason that contributed towards my sustainability, to be able to jump into different styles.
Yes.
I've been since rave. I've been into this thing, and I have to keep myself stimulated. So because I like so many different kinds of music, it's nice to be able to produce it and play it as well.
Yeah, and I guess that's what made education and bass another whole arm of operations to what you've done and what you've achieved and what you contribute to this culture. I guess that it makes education and bass make even more sense because you have that overview. You're not stuck in one particular echo chamber, if you like. You can see all of these different genres and how they relate and the points where they overlap really in that type of way. And I guess you must do as well. You're wearing an Iron Maiden T-shirt and stuff. I know that.
Yeah.
And I listened to a great mix of yours recently, actually, like an influences mix.
Yeah.
And I mean, it had pretty much all of my favourite tunes on there, right across the board. Like there was kind of bits of rock and rave and all types of stuff on there. So I guess that it helps anybody when they've got a much grander overview of the wider musical picture, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. I found with drum and bass, people come at it from different kind of influences on the way in, and especially in New Zealand, not many people that I knew earlier on were into like the heavy metal and industrial like I was, that got into it. Most people were into, I don't know, either British indie rock or earlier rave music and house music and things. But it's funny, everyone comes at it from a different thing. And for me, hearing jungle for the first time after, because I was listening to hardcore rave, but hearing jungle for the first time, I was like, the energy and the power and the speed and the intricacies in the drums, I was like, this is heavy metal. And then when I heard No U-Turn Talk album, and I was like, these Reese's, this is just like a heavy metal riff. And that's how I treat it still to this day. Like I'm writing heavy metal tracks with an Amen and a Reese. So sorry.
Oh, I love that. I love that. How do you relate to that? Is that something that you've seen quite a lot as a teacher and things like that? Like, I love the idea of you're writing another genre within a genre, if you know what I mean. You're coming in with a heavy metal mindset. So have you come across that type of mindset or that type of approach quite often when you're mentoring and working with other people?
Yeah, and I think that's the beautiful thing, certainly with jungle and drum and bass, right? It's based and built upon people's influences and parents and families' record collections and what they grew up around. So I think that's just jungle and drum and bass anyway. It's a melting pot, and that's why we see so many different styles of drum and bass. So I think naturally that is a part of it. So yeah.
It's the old melting pot cliche, really, in that way. What are you going to play us? Have you got some music?
I have, actually. Let me just stick this USB.
Amazing. I'm just going to check in with the chat and see if everybody's okay. I hope everybody who is watching, we've got people on Facebook, we've got people on Twitch and on YouTube. Big up Gooda as well. Right. Oh, we've got somebody here. Right. So, Gooda is. Are you're on the Twitch community?
I am.
You?
I know Gooda well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big up,
He's
mate.
saying. Right. There we go. A big up to Gooda. He said, "Man, still blown away that Evan sent me a remastered for Gooda version of Rain in Blood, Concord Dawn." Wow, that's amazing. Right. So you're aware because I'm very new to Twitch. Big up the Twitch community. We've been incredibly welcoming. We've had loads of new followers while we've been setting up here. It's brand new, really, to me, but I'm aware of its potential. And it's really strong community aspect. Tell me your experiences of Twitch.
So I got I basically got exposed to Twitch via John B. He started playing like 3 times a week during COVID lockdowns, playing different types of sets. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can check in and see a mate playing all different kinds of music with his crazy vision. He did really amazing produced stuff.
Lots of love to John B. I would have loved for him to be on the show, but the times, flights, schedules and stuff didn't allow it and stuff. But he was one of the first people I thought of. But yeah, John B, I think, is responsible for getting a lot of people.
A lot, yeah. And so there was him and then Scotty, and they had 2 very different streams. Scotty was just like, just music, just a camera of the decks. But it was great because all of a sudden I could tune in and listen to what different people were playing. Obviously, Scotty plays very different to what John plays. And then I found all of the kind of, the other streamers who aren't big, well-known DJs.
Native to Twitch.
Native to
There's a whole community and, not a hierarchy, very much not a hierarchy. That's the beauty of Twitch, is there's a whole culture of DJs on Twitch, isn't it?
And everyone supports everyone else and you kind of raid into each other. So you might have 30 people on your channel and you can, when you leave, you can push all your followers or, onto someone else's stream that's live.
That was the deal sealer for me.
Because
everybody's always hogging the numbers or wants to give them to themselves. And it's my biggest piece of advice whenever I do any type of talks or mentoring or anything like that, is to, kind of share other people's stuff, big each other up, gas each other up, because that's the way that things amplify. That's the way that we break out of our little circles, isn't it?
And the Twitch community, especially around drum and bass, is so tight and so supportive and really cool. And after maybe 18 months of watching my friends do it, I thought, you know what, I'm going to get myself a controller, I'm going to do it myself, and I started off real basic. Oh, Al Hornet's another one. Al Hornet Paul from Pendulum.
Yes.
He did a lot of that, and he was just like, just do it. So I got a controller, and I did 2 hours a week, one 2-hour show a week for 2.5 years. And I've only just stopped because we're moving country at the moment. But yeah, and that's been a big part of me reconnecting with music, reconnecting with DJing. Yeah.
Go on, that's brilliant. I'm really looking forward to kind of exploring Twitch more and establishing myself more on there. But right now, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you're going to play. What are you going to play for us?
So, DJ Crystal has got a remix project coming in December, and you probably heard the banger that this man's done. But there's a few remixes, and he'll appreciate me announcing this as well. So in December, there's a remix project coming out, and I had the honour of remixing a track called Meditation, which was a track that Groove Rider started off with at Dreamscape 8 that I never really knew the name of the track back then. So when, I rinsed that tape pack. It was a tape pack that I listened. A friend of mine let me borrow it, and I didn't give it back. I did in the end, but I listened to it over and over. So this tune, and to have the honour of remixing it is, amazing.
Yeah.
So this is the remix that I've done that will be coming out in December.
Wow, another exclusive. There we go. Yep.
Which channel are we on? There? There we go.
Don't touch that dial. It's One More Thing Sun and Bass Social with Dave Colombo Jenkins.
And Kiljoy and Outrage and plenty of other guests. Keep it locked.
The art of meditation is a way of getting into touch with reality. The art of meditation is a way of getting into touch with reality.
Wow, we are back in the land of exclusives and dubs. So that's DJ Crystal Meditation. If I was a real nerd, I would know that date. But I'm going to give it a guess. I reckon it was 95, maybe the original came out.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably. Yeah, sorry.
The sounds.
93.
Earlier than that.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, there we go.
Yeah, cheers, Seba.
Seba and Paradox who are going to come on
Sorry,
in a little
Crystal.
while. Oh no! I mean that must be. I mean, I've asked this to people before. I asked Edward Oberon and Paul T yesterday because they were playing Ronnie Size remix that they're about to release.
Oh wow!
And I asked if there was any pressure, and they were like, "No, not really," because they loved it. It was a joy. They didn't feel kind of any pressure. But how about you guys when you're asked to remix?
I'm glad I didn't tell anyone I was doing it because since I've sent it to people, they're like, "Oh, that was a big one to touch," and I'm like, But yeah, if I'd have spoke to them beforehand, I might have wobbled a bit. But we were just having a conversation that I think there's two ways. You can either keep it true to the original and bring it into kind of put your stamp on it and bring in a bit more contemporary, or you can turn it on its head, but you have to come correct. And I think what Evan's done with his remix is it's true to the original, but it's also got like a big function stamp on it as well, which is really cool. But
I was terrified about doing it because Let It Roll was literally the tune that sealed the deal for me for jungle. Like when I heard that in '94, I was like, I need to do this. Like those drums, I was like, that's me. Wow. And so when Crystal asked me to do it, it was terrifying. Terrifying. Yeah, I spent a little bit of time doing it, and I'm glad it came out. I'm quite proud of it now. But yeah.
Wow.
And there's a couple of other naughty ones. I played. Yeah. I don't know if we can say, but look out for it. Yeah.
I don't know. We've been dropping all types of exclusive, kind of half expecting some type of grumpy call from Goldie because London Electricity played a
I heard about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it blew my mind. He's got something coming out on Metalhead.
That's insane.
And hopefully this is seen as good promo and not like leaking secret information. But I think also, this is the benefit of watching a live stream. You do get privy to really cool information, especially when we're live and direct from Southern Bass. So I'm wondering now, like,
one sec. Bring back dub plate culture.
Yes.
What's going on, man? Like I'm getting a promo on a Wednesday and it comes out on a Friday. What can I do with that?
It's ridiculous, really. In fact, like DJ Zink said something to me in an interview a little while ago that he doesn't check any promos, and he's actually, I believe, he's retired from DJing at the moment. But he doesn't check any promos. He plays music that his friends have sent him or music that he buys. And that's something that I found. Like I do check promos if it's a particular label and stuff like that, but nobody really wants to be playing or be sent the same tunes that everybody else has been sent, really, regardless of where you're at in terms of kind of, like, there's a lot of legends turning up. If you see us looking away and waving, it's because people like Storm and Charla Green are all arriving.
Dom and
in
Roland.
the rain, and Dom and Roland, you would have seen his hand.
Tony Mad Vibes.
The hand.
Yeah.
That's Roland, the hand.
That's Roland.
Yeah.
It wasn't the machine all along, it was his hand. Brilliant. But I was going to see now, because we're going to wrap up, we're going to get the next guests on in a moment, which is a very, very special exclusive. But yeah, I mean, Evan, you were saying how long it takes you to write an album. You've just dropped an Outrage album. You're quite an album man. You've under various aliases and stuff. So can you give any advice to your friend and colleague here on how to hurry the fuck up on his album? Even though I totally agreed and I was very empathetic about taking the time and being meaningful, but are there ways, as a teacher, can we do some live mentoring here on the One More Thing Sun and Bass Social?
Just fucking sort it out, mate.
Done.
Yeah, there we go. Teaching in 2024.
You got it in you, man.
I feel inspired.
Brilliant. That was amazing. So I think we're going to sign out. So which one of you would like to play an exclusive tune before hopefully our next guest? Are we ready to come on?
Do you want to?
As ready as you'll ever be.
Why have I not played? Just put me on the
Right.
spot now.
So I think I'm going to play a little jingle. We're going to play another tune. It's going to be an
I don't know about
exclusive. Just want to big you all up in the chats. Yes, people are saying bring back dubplate culture. Absolutely. Who's that? That's No DMBJ Dub. Yeah, I mean, definitely bring back dubplate culture. But I think between friends and between colleagues, move closer. I'm a bit worried you're not on the stream. There we go. This is the power of mentoring.
Yeah, that's the real mentoring.
Yeah, I think there is kind of dubplate culture in terms of people sharing things with each other and stuff like that, really. But anthems seem quite harder to come by.
Well, I was having this conversation last night. I believe that anthems came from primarily a load of DJs rinsing the same tune for a long period of time and repetition. I'm not saying the tunes weren't worthy of being an anthem, but it's, just you'd go out to a night and people weren't scared to play the same tunes as the DJ before. These days, you won't, they've played that, but literally there'd be 2 or 3 tracks that every DJ would play, and it'd be for like a year, and I think that was a big part, dubplate culture, and the fact that people did have tracks and they played them for a long period of time that helped create anthems. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
I had a really interesting conversation with Lincoln High Contrast years ago, where he was only playing dubs that he'd cut, and this is in the early days of when people were playing CDs, and he's like, if I'm going to play a tune, it needs to be special enough for me to want to go get it cut, and cut it, to like spend that money to do that, and then just have those tunes. And that kind of made me go, because there's especially now that everything's on MP3, you can be like, I've done a new version of this, you've got 400, 500 tracks on a USB stick. It doesn't, I'm not saying it cheapens the music, but in terms of your attention to selection for what you're packing, it's different. And so I try to approach when I'm packing for a show, not to just grab a whole bunch of stuff and see what happens, but like actually prepare a little bit in terms of what really represents what I want.
Yeah, definitely. It can actually be quite anxiety-inducing when I've got had a new batch of tunes. People have sent me loads of tunes, and I put them all on the USB, and I think, I've got loads of new stuff. And then when you actually step up, it's like, oh shit, I don't know any of these tunes particularly well, and that's really scary, isn't it? Cool. Right. I can see a lot of guests all turning up now as well. This is brilliant. We've also got Zero T in the house as well. So who knows who's going to come up next, because I'm going to give some people some choices. But we're going to play a tune. What we're going to play, which one of you is going to play it? I think we've got your USB in. So.
Yeah, so this is a track from the album that myself and Digital wrote called Equality. And yeah, it's a special track for many reasons. Obviously, Steve has been my bassline bully for many years, and obviously it's part of the album, so yeah.
Baseline bully. Go on, and Digital will be coming up as well very, very soon. Stay tuned for Seba and Paradox. Stay tuned for Storm, Zero T, and more. Thank you very much, guys. Can I get a round of applause for Kiljoy and Outrage? And Charla Green.
Deep down in my soul.
You're in tune with the One More Thing Sun and Bass Social. Keep it locked.
Please do keep it locked, because now we are joined by our next special guest, who literally arrived about 2 or 3 minutes ago. Excuse me, it's Zero T. How are you doing?
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm good. A bit of a sore throat as well, actually.
It's one of those ones, even without smoking or drinking. There's been a lot of staying up late because you want to
Yeah.
catch the music, but it's talking over the din, the
It
rackets that is jungle
And the
music.
sand, the wind and the sand, I think hasn't helped. But I think I also smoked too many cigarettes, so don't do drugs.
We're
kids.
not here. We're not here for health advice, though. We're here for musical advice. And literally today, you've just put up a new episode of a series that you've just launched.
Yes.
Tell us about getting diggy with it. I love that title.
Yeah, so I've been trying to think of like some sort of interesting idea for social content that I can do regularly, that I'm kind of comfortable doing, that's sort of natural to me, and sampling I think is my sort of forte. So the first episode I put up 2 weeks ago I think, and we've had third episode just went up yesterday, sorry. It's called Getting Diggy With It. The idea is I have all these records I've amassed over the years from inheriting them from people and charity shop job lots and, you know, car boot sales, all sorts of stuff. And I don't really know, you don't know what you're getting really. Like I might flick through and see, there's a few things I know there's probably samples on, but I'll just buy all of them because, you just give them 20 quid or whatever, take the whole box. So the idea of the show is I just do a lucky dip, pull out a record, no matter what it is, I have to try and find a sample on it and make a tune out of it.
Wow.
And so I've done the third episode is up now, and I'm going to try and post one every Wednesday on an ongoing basis. It won't all be drum and bass as well. Some of them will be my Broken Beat alias, Brock Rogers. So I'll be sort of mixing it up as I go. But one of the tracks, the second episode, I actually turned into a full tune to play here on Sunday, on Friday night, or Saturday
Amazing.
night even. So, might get a listen to that later on if you want to.
Go on, that's brilliant. That's one of
Yeah.
my highlight sets as well that I've seen
thank
so
you.
far.
Thank
I was
you.
lurking away in the background behind that. So I would have heard that song, not realising that.
Yeah, you might
Brilliant.
recognise
I mean,
it, yeah.
sampling, I know, is something that I want to talk to Paradox about as well later on. So sampling is probably going to play quite a lead role in some of the conversations that we have this afternoon. But I use you as an example. I'm pretty sure I've actually said it in these interviews over the last few days. Whenever people talk about clearance and sampling, you've never cleared a sample.
No. But
Maybe we'll mute that or put some like kind of funny music over it.
I don't think any of my songs have ever made enough money for a sample source to come after. But
this is it, and somebody else has said this to me. Ask them from the freestylers. It's like if it is going to get that big, then
License
someone
it.
will pay for it.
Yeah. So I my philosophy on it is like jungle is like pirate music. You know what I mean? It's like there's no rules. There's no like, you know what I mean? We're supposed to be thieves here, like, do you know what I mean? And like,
yes,
bandits or whatever you want to call us, but like
outlaws.
Yeah, and like, I'm a sort of hip hop kid, so I try to do that approach to drum and bass basically, and samples is where I've always started. I'm not a musician, so I can pick a chord and stuff on a keyboard, but I would never call myself a musician. So a sample is almost always a starting point for me for every track I've ever made.
Right.
Yeah, and in terms of, one way around it as well is what we do. Some labels don't care, and other ones do a lot, and they won't release something if it has a sample in it.
Yep.
So I'm very lucky that I know some amazing musicians who can recreate pretty much any sample I want, that happen to play all the instruments that are the things I usually sample. So what I tend to do is, I'll start with a sample, but the finished track might end up without the sample in it, or a completely recreated version of it, or often I'll get the musicians to play over the sample and get sort of like, and then just mute the sample, and you're left with
Brilliant.
music. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
I'm really digging deep into the recesses of my mind. There was an interview that we did, which with your brother as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
What project was that?
So that was my first North Quarter release. It was EP that I did in collaboration with my brother who plays guitar and another guy called Sam Mahoney. Ishvac is he's the guy I use for most of my sample recreation. Also Ange, who I've
interviewed with you before as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he's my next door neighbour and he's a genius keyboard player. So I often use him. But Sam Ishvac plays everything. Like he plays all the instruments.
Wow.
So it's literally like I just need to clone him 10 times and I've got an amazing band. But so yeah, and he has a very similar musical sensibility to me, so I don't even need to explain things to him. It's just like, sort that out, will you? And like, he sends it back and it's basically perfect. So yeah, my whole Brooke Rogers album, like True Thoughts, are a label that's like has to be no samples because they do a lot of licensing and sync work and stuff. So that's he's recreated a lot on that album for me as well. So
when you said you weren't a musician, I was going to use Brooke Rogers as an example of you actually being a musician, but it's not. Sam's the musician.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, cool.
No.
So bringing in Sam now. Go on. Sorry, Kian. No, it was really interesting because I was driving along to Gatwick. We were on the same flight, listening to the Brooke Rogers album, thinking, I'm looking forward to seeing what he set. And I saw you. You were the first person I saw as I walked onto the plane. Like, I like it when stuff like that happens. But yeah, there's a lot in your musical vocabulary. It's not just drum and bass, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think when I started making it, which is quite early on, I sort of realised quite quickly you've got to not really listen to too much of it, basically, outside of the sort of work context, if that makes sense, because you just end up making derivative versions of other people's tunes, do you know what I mean? And, I'm still heavily influenced by certain producers, but, I think drum and bass is great because it's just a tempo and you can have any kind of drum and bass track, like any kind of influence from any other genre.
Definitely.
So if you're going to be a producer, you need to immerse yourself in as many genres of music from the whole world as possible.
Yeah. And that used to blow my mind when I first got into dance music journalism, that when people would say something similar to that, or that they don't really listen to anything electronic in their part-time, they'd be like, what? Because the music obsessed me so much. I couldn't understand that. But when you spend your entire life by it, especially if you're earning money from it and it's, it's 24/7, you need that break. You need to rest your ears. You need to rest your brain. You need to find other inspiration and stuff.
Absolutely. Like, I think a lot of us are kind of famously moany about, we like hearing drum and bass. We obviously love drum and bass, but we like hearing it in its context. But outside of that, we'd rather be listening to something else.
Definitely. And other people within the scene are just famously moany.
There's plenty of them, all right.
Definitely. But there's not a lot to moan.
Myself, yeah.
This is really weird. Like, I would love to turn the camera around, but then we'd lose the shot that we've got. But we've got Dom and Roland sitting underneath the cover, like right up in our faces, like the front row of the cinema there. There's absolutely no pressure going on here whatsoever. Am I doing better in not talking, or am I still, because I was trying to remember the lessons that you were teaching me in keeping calm. Am I doing okay?
You're exactly the same, mate. Exactly the same.
I don't feel as stressed today, though. I don't mind. Like, I am going to check the stream. No, we've got people watching this stream. Pick up everybody in the chat. I would like to listen to a piece of music, and I would like to listen to, I will carry on talking while you set it up, that particular tune that has come about from your series.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think that's amazing, really, to be able to do that, to start a project. I mean, in fact, and this is really good because a lot of artists, a lot of people don't feel very comfortable making this type of video content that everybody feels they have to make, and the pressures of the industry to promote yourself and stay relevant and stay visible to people online, to actually find something that you can use that you feel comfortable with, that relates to you, your character, your process, your sound and everything, and be able to make a track which is then playable in a club. You've beaten the system there in a way, really, haven't you? Because you managed to promote yourself, you managed to play the game, and create something that wouldn't have existed without doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, a lot of us older guys, it doesn't come naturally to us to be, self-promoting, and it's so opposite to how it was, like in the 90s when I was just a fan of it. It was the mystery of it, not knowing what anyone looked like, There was people didn't do press shots and stuff. Like, I, was biggest obstacle fan. I had no idea what he looked like until we booked him in Dublin. Like, just didn't know what he looked like. But all that mystery and how hard you had to work to just find out anything about it at all was sort of what made it so fascinating to me from outside, you know, from a different country. So it's totally sort of opposite to what our sort of nature is, if you like, the older crew, to put yourself out there and be on camera and all that stuff. But the reality is that's what sort of is needed these days for, you know, the current generation, whatever you want to call it. Like, but that sort of holds a weight that and can do things for you that not doing it will, you know, you'll see the sort of, you know, negative difference, if you like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And you've managed to make it work. You've managed to play this. And I like a lot of artists just don't, you know, they won't play that game. But like you said, then you'll notice a lack of activity or interest in the music, really, I guess.
Possibly. I mean, you know, there's always outliers, and, you know, we have a number of, like, sort of unique geniuses in drum and bass who don't play this game at all, and who still are, you know, some of the most successful guys. But, you know, I always say, like, that's like being trying to be a painter and modeling yourself off Leonardo da Vinci or something. Like, it's not a good, that's not like how it happens for most people. So, you know, basically you've got to play the game to a certain degree. So I've tried to, it took me a long time actually to kind of come up, you know, foment an idea that I'm going to be comfortable doing in a sustainable way, that I don't feel like I'm being fake or being cringy or, you know, any of that stuff. And yeah, so I've found it and had some great QCing from my lovely wife over there, helping me refine the format and stuff. So yeah, I'm really chuffed with it. And yeah, look, we're getting some tunes out of it as well. And, you know, whether they're just dubs that get played in clubs or they turn into releases, who knows? But yeah.
Let's find out.
Let's
go.
find out. Yeah. All right, so.
Oh, yes. This is really strange.
This direct. We a threat. This direct. We impacting culture, that means we a threat.
So this is definitely what I would classify as a bubbler. That's a lovely, lovely tune there. So
yeah, I like it. It's
cool.
fun.
You got good feelings about that? Would that be something that, I mean, because you work with some amazing labels as well,
Yeah.
and certain like different Zero T sounds end up on different
Yeah,
labels,
exactly.
like.
I was talking to Jay DLR about it yesterday, actually. And you know, it's basically he was had a few beverages. And I was like, so do you care about
He's a
sample?
cheeky scamp.
Do you care about sample clearance? And he's like, nah. So it's on him, basically. But yeah, I was. You know, I have actually literally done a video advertising that I've sampled that and shown the record and like the whole thing. So anyway, yeah. I mean, again, if it comes to it, and he wants to pay my guy Sam, we can recreate it. So
Brilliant.
Happy
Cool,
days,
cool.
yeah.
What else are you up to before we wrap up and welcome some more guests onto the show? What else are you up to?
So the next thing for me is North Quarter EP. It's about to come out in next week, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
and anyone who's at the festival, you will have heard one of the tracks. It's got played a number of times, called Technique.
Oh, right.
And it's got this drum break from Rapper's Delight. It's
Oh.
famously used by Shy FX in Bambata. So if you've heard that drum break any time this week, then that's my tune. So.
Right, wow, okay,
So, yeah,
cool,
keep an eye out for
cool. As we were talking about anthems and kind of tunes, there hasn't been that many, like I said on the stream the other day, probably the most popular tunes that I've heard are Golden Girl and Sound Control. Really,
Yeah, of course.
for obvious
Of
reasons,
course.
and they've,
Tributes and stuff. Yeah. I mean, I haven't been out every night and I haven't been to everything, but I have heard that tune being played 6 times, so it's not a bad game. Like, you know what I mean? For a few days,
it's important to do, really, I think. Cool. So we are going to welcome some more guests, and
Sure.
Storm is stepping up. So there we go. So
Can I just say the first time
come over.
the first 2 times I ever witnessed drum and bass or jungle live, like as in, you know, in a venue outside of a bedroom or a friend's bedroom, was this lady and Chemistry. First one was they were supporting Goldie on his Timeless tour in a giant venue in Dublin called the Point Depot. And
Can
then,
you remember that one as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's our first time to Dublin, right?
Yeah.
And
And
then there's some massive. I mean, you know, we think we were going in.
it's the main concert venue of Dublin. Like, it's, you know, where everyone plays basically. So Taylor
big
Swift
people,
there.
right? Big people.
Yeah, Michael Jackson, Tina Turner, like it's the main
We're on
one. Yeah, it was absolutely incredible and formative experience for me. And then I think it was about a year later, you played for Quadraphonic
That's
in
right.
the Temple
Yeah,
Bar
yeah,
Music
yeah,
Centre.
yeah.
I was 16, I had a fake ID, and I managed to get in and see you guys again. So she's a big part of why I'm here in the first place. And yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Go on, that's lush. That's the power of
Yeah,
drum
I'll
and
let you
bass and how we influence each other and all that groovy stuff. So, yeah, we are welcoming Storm now as the next guest. Let's put that microphone down there. We're welcoming Storm. Oh, shit, no. Don't know what's happening there. There we go. And the storm has, I wouldn't actually call this a storm. I call this like kind of heavy rain. And I'm going to mute this microphone. There we go. Right, where's your microphone gone? There we are. There we go. Right, so we welcome Storm. You're going to play a tune in a moment. But first, I want to ask you, because it was your night last night. I was yourself and Function as well. So yourself and Steve curated Amber Night in the gazebo. I was probably one of my favourite times in the gazebo because it can get a little bit like that. And I don't like it when it's a bit like that. In fact, I hate it. But Charla opened up, and that was one of my favourite sets that I've heard at Sun and Bass so far. And it just continued to just get awesome and awesome.
No, it was really good. It was really good, and I think it's a real honour to be able to curate because you can bring the people that you really, really love, you know. And you know, I feel like I hopefully give a really DJ-led night, you know, people who really want to mix and none of this 45-second nonsense and then fiddling with your knobs for your USB, you know what I mean? Not looking at the crowd, you know what I mean? My people can do the USB thing and look at the crowd, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it was really fantastic. And obviously, Charla came for the first time last year. And I've, you know, from the moment kind of Digital's introduced me to her music and her, I've just really been excited by what she's doing. She's somebody really special for the future, you know what I mean? And to hear her last year was great. And she came off and she said, you know what? I should have played a bit tougher. And last night, boy, did she. She properly rocked. She built it up so hard, right? And Kiljoy was like, I don't know what to play after Charla.
It was brilliant though. It was the full spectrum. There was a real, like, for me, a set has to have dynamics, and I think that's the one thing. If I think about what is it about DJ sets that are not quite grabbing me, it's because it's all either just too extreme, too full on. I need those dips, and that was definitely it was the best type of opening set.
I think a lot of us people that have come from the original kind of playing vinyl, I think there was something about, you know, people always used to tell you needed to find a style. And it's true, you could walk into a club and you'd know, you wouldn't need to see Groove or Mickey Finn, but you'd know it was them. And now today, I'm not sure if I could, you know, kind of put different DJ sets as different DJ sets. But at the end of the day, I think it's all really fantastic and it's all really viable. But for me, it's about that essence of wanting to be a DJ, to be a disc jockey, to ride the grooves, you know. I mean, who uses the crossfader these days, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the real mix, you know, what we brought, or what Groove and Fabio and Randall and all these people brought to the kind of technique of, it wasn't scratching, we weren't using levels, we were using the crossfader to make that ultimate, using the
third lane,
to use the crossfader setting, not this cross where you're all at one level and you get no impact when you come in the mix. Listen, if you're going to mix and you love it, make sure people know it, you know what I mean? Make sure people know you're in the mix, right? Because again, once you're mixing, and you might do a really long mix, or it creates a whole different vibe as you're going along with each tune, because there's so much dynamics in every good drum and bass tune. So you're creating different almost moods as you're carrying on with that mix. And I just think, you know, us older people, you know, if I was, you know, in a club, I would know if it was actually Dom or Clute. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, I know their style, and again, you create that style of most probably your music, and, you know, and of course, each DJ brings what they like. You know, so you might, I mean, we had a few repeats last night, but we had a lot of different things I hadn't heard, you know what I mean? And I was definitely on digital like that. It's like, yeah, it's me, just, you know, just rolling it out.
And I know, I actually went to see the Source play while Steve was playing. I'm really sorry, Steve, if you're watching this.
He's not here yet, so we're good.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah, well, you want to go and represent, you know, you want to check out as many people as you can, but I heard he played Caliber in the middle, and like Steve is belligerent, but then he'll just drop this moment of like sunshine in the middle of some very heavy amen, you know, kind of amen rims.
Yeah.
And
well, I think as well, I think, you know, some of these producers from years ago, again, you know, I think they've kind of almost refined their style, and they found new avenues to go down. And I think because they're making really, you know, tunes that have a middle, beginning and an end that, you know, in my opinion, need to be played. I'm not a producer. I'm not going to loop anything, because that's a piece of music. If I want to play a piece of music and it's good for me, then it's good as it is. I don't need to do anything to it. I don't need to be cue pointing or anything like that. I just play it from beginning to end, you know what I mean? Because, and for me, you know, you rewind a tune and you go back to a cue point, well, that's disrespectful for me, to the producer, because they made that beautiful beginning for a reason. So let's build it up as it was and not go straight in at the drop. I know that's impact, but you don't have to be impact all the time. You can do that with your mixing. That's just me, you know, and everybody else do whatever you want.
No, definitely. Do you know what, right? I've wanted this opportunity. This might be heresy here. It might be, I mean it in the best respect, but when we did our podcast, which is my most listened to podcast by about 1,000 downloads, by the way, it's absolutely huge, is when you said about that, I love loops, because remember when records used to finish with like 4 beats? It would be, because it wasn't made for DJing, it was a dance track, but it wasn't specifically made arrangement-wise. So it would end in a weird way, so you'd have to bring it in a weird way. And I love having a loop thing. So, you know, if suddenly your other tune is taking a little while to warm up or something like that, basically loops can create that seamlessness towards the end of a track. So you can
looping a track?
Yeah, just looping the drums at the end.
I think if you're a good DJ and you're a quick DJ and at this point I shouldn't need to loop anything to give myself extra time. Come on, man. You know what I mean? It's
I'm
like,
being schooled by storm here.
It's not. No, you know, I did a back-to-back with a DJ a few weeks ago, and they said, do you want me to leave you on a loop? And I just went, for what? You know, I should be able to get a tune in. And I mean, we've had some weird 3-minute tunes recently going on, people out there. Come on, 2.5 or whatever it is. And, you know, I think certain tunes are made maybe for that rewind, but sometimes it's not. And you've just got to get in there quick time. And that was always the thing for me and Kemi and Randall. Randall was so quick, you know, and we always aspired to practice at home to be as quick as Randall. And I'm still trying now. You know what I mean? I'm still trying now, trust me. But yeah, for me, it's, I don't think, you know, I'm not any bells and whistles. You know what I mean? I just DJ. And that works for me, and it's working. So, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Oh, definitely. And it works for the entire drum and bass scene. Who, you know, you're one of the most respected selectors. And I can't believe I've argued with you over loops, and you've just schooled me live on a stream. So thank you very much to everybody who's watching. You're going to play us a tune, and there will be no loops. We might not play Respect to the whole thing, just because we're tight for time, and so we might not play the entire thing. Oh, it's Channel 1. There we go. Oh, okay. No, yeah, that should be
now,
cool.
I'm actually going to play, because he was here, 0T. Now, this is a tune I've been starting with. And again, I think this shows that 0T has many, many sides indeed.
So I love the links that we've created with the programme of this. It's been very free and easy. Some DJs have said they were able to come and then haven't or changed their dates. Zero T reminded me last night when I saw him that I hadn't actually brought him onto the show yet, and he said he'd be up for it. So I was like, quick, come on today then. And you've been opening with his tunes, and you were one of the first DJs who inspired him. Everything is linked.
Yeah, totally. Because I think people feel they're not always brave enough to make a tune like this, but it works all day long. You know, trust me, when I've started with this on festivals, small clubs, big clubs, once it drops, people are absolutely in, and it's beautiful.
Brilliant. This is Zero T.
I hate you, make me nervous. I always sit from me. It doesn't matter anyways, 'cause nothing's gonna change. No, I hate the situation. I'm always running into you when I know I'm holding to. I hate feeling so confused. Oh. Just wanna be your girl. No, I hate that you're perfect. No way, that's on me. Somebody's playing tricks on me.
Wow. That's beautiful. Like they are sunshine vibes that kind of belie the weather that we're looking at. But it's probably like the liveliest kind of little audience grouping, like people dancing in little sheltered areas. I will try and kind of spin the camera around so you can see what it's like before the end of the stream. I'd like to big up everybody in the stream as well. No DJ Jub. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but lots of love for the old school. Lots of love and respect for Storm. And you brought on a guest now as well. Because, I mean, what I love about this is because I asked you to come on and straight away you said, everybody knows my story. I want to bring on my friends. And that's why we've had all of the kind of function crew, as many of the function crew as possible. And that's why Charla is standing here now. Charla Green is no stranger to One More Thing, one of the earliest One More mixes that we did. I think it might have been the first All Productions mix that we did. Was yours, wasn't it?
So, yeah.
Yeah, go on. Oh, hold on a minute. I need to... There we go. I think we'll be able to hear you now. That was, some of you heard me bigging up your set, like the warm-up is a really important part of the night, isn't it?
It's actually the most important part of the night, because if you have a great warm-up and you can bring people in, you're a DJ, yeah?
And it gives you the freedom to kind of play what you want, a little bit like the pressure is definitely, it's off as a warm-up because you can do your own kind of thing, really, and just watch the room fill up under your control in that type of way. How did it feel for you?
Yeah, I think sometimes like the warm-up ones are harder because like you don't want to go too hard, but then you need to bring people in and ease it in. But all my sets, I always like to start like slow and then build it up, so it works.
I think that was really nice how you started at one kind of 60 and then you moved it up slowly. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it was really well engineered, and I think that's the thing. Like I've always said, the one true thing that Goldie says, arrangement is key. right? Whether it's a tune or whether it's a set or a piece of artwork. But yeah, brilliant. It was brilliant last night.
Brilliant, brilliant. How's your summer been so far anyway, really?
Yeah, it's been good. Busy.
Awesome. Who were you most looking forward to in Sun and Bass? When you saw the lineup that you were on, the guests that you were sharing lineups with, was there any particular DJ that you thought, I've got to go and see that person?
I mean, last night, obviously, all these guys and...
when you were mentioning about Marky and Di set.
Marky and Di set, that was sick. I'm like glad we went to that. We saw you there.
Yeah. That's where we linked up. Yeah. And I love that. It's just a history lesson, really.
Yeah.
I think I was talking about this on the stream yesterday, but Marky and Di did this 3-hour set, starting from funk and soul, took it all the way to drum and bass, and back again as well.
It was just
really
nice to see them like flex out, and they were proper vibing off each other, like.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got that tune. Yeah, it was lovely.
Bit of friendly rivalry.
Yeah. Lovely.
I mean, I think that's the most important thing about any type of kind of DJ dialogue, really, is having fun and really knowing your records and showing off the music and having passion for it. Yeah. And I think that's the difference between people who chase this thinking that DJing is just going to be a big money thing or a superstar thing, or someone who just has to do it because you have to share your music, really.
You need to just get it out of your system.
Yeah.
It's the next thing out of your system.
It is a compulsion, isn't it? When you're that obsessed with music, playing it to people and wanting people to listen to this, and that's why I'm doing what I do and why I shout about music so loudly. And I know
as well, let's be fair, I think real drum and bass, well, what I feel is real drum and bass, again, my opinion, is, it's dwindling. I've got my Cool FM show once a month, and I even find it hard to find fresh music once a month. Wow. And then when I look back at that book I used to make from 91 where I put all our records in, wow, like January 92 has got pages and pages. We were able, with all the little labels, and putting out bits of vinyl then, to have a fresh set every week, let alone a month. So to have someone like Charla come along who's making what's right up my street, and quite a lot as well. So I've got lots more tunes now. So it's really lovely, do you know what I mean? And again, for me, I'm very much lucky to be aligned with Digital, and I have to say, with his label, he's always really stuck to his guns and kept it very pure drum and bass. And people, it's proper bass in that tune. Remember that? Remember drum and bass? Yeah. Because you don't hear it a lot. So it's nice when we're doing our thing. Not only have we got bass, we've got lots of subs going on, which is that whole. It's funny. Seba was saying there weren't many phones in your room last night. Yeah, not many people on phones. That's because
you're right.
Right, because you're listening, and hopefully we're doing that to you. You don't need to pick up your phone. We didn't have phones back in the day, and I wouldn't have had time when I'm at heaven to worry about looking at my phone when Groove and Fabio are bussing some new tune, right? What's this tune? And you're just trying to find people. Do you know this tune, yeah? Do you know what I mean? Or you have to go to the record shop and embarrassingly try and sing it the next day. Do you know what I mean? Which I've done. I'm not ashamed.
Go on, I was going to say, have you done that? So I want to say, man, so you mentioned that book, and I've been really, really lucky. I've come up and interviewed you in your house, and you got out the books. Jane has got exercise books, not just detailing the tunes that you bought, but the mixes. You and Kemi would meticulously write down the mixes and things that worked and what you played.
Yeah.
Fastidious detail. Yeah. I absolutely love that.
But I think,
and the fact that you still got them.
Moving on to that, I think as a woman, you felt you just got to do it better. Do you know what I mean? And you got to be, that always rings in my head what DJ Rap said in an interview. The guy DJs, they can have an off night, and they broke up with their girlfriend, or the car broke down, or something happened. But if she missed a few beats, she wouldn't get booked for 6 months, right? Because I don't know, me and Kemi we didn't feel a lot of sexism when we came through this scene. But we were around Reinforced very quickly, and I've said this to Digo, you just treated us as equals. He said, yeah, we're West Indian, we've got sisters and brothers, and you were just our sisters. So for us, we didn't get any of that. They just treated us equally. And again,
family.
Randall, being our mentor, saw something in us and just promoted us. And how grateful were we? Do you know what I mean? It's been incredible. That kind of help. So I kind of think me and Kemi were so precious about this scene and passionate. We wanted almost to document everything. And we did so much hoarding. The flyers, the letters that people wrote us, you know what I mean? We've still got them. The letter that Caliber wrote to us introducing himself, you know, my name's Dominic, I'm from Ireland, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, I'd love
That
you
needs
to...
to be in a museum of drum and bass. Wow, that's
Well, actually,
beautiful.
moving on to that, there is going to be a new installation in the Victorian Album Museum in the David Bowie Gallery, and Chemistry and Storm have asked to be an installation in that, so that's really exciting. That will be there forever, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
When is that launching? When is that happening?
We're just getting stuff together. I'm getting stuff together, and you know, there's going to be a live part to it. You'll be able to come in and listen to our sets and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's really amazing. Big up Jacqueline Springer for that. You know what I mean?
That is so important. I mean, as someone who's trying to archive and document and find out and write down as much history as researched as it could possibly be, and as fair as it can possibly be, and giving everybody voices is something that is really, really important for me to know that that's in process.
Yeah, and I
that's
know Groove and
happening.
Fabio are in there. We did a little bit of a Zoom for the book a few weeks ago. Do you know what I mean? Which was hilarious.
That's actually giving me goosebumps. That's brilliant. We are now documenting culture here, as you know, there's the latest stage of culture, as it should be, just like, you know, the kind of 60s and Andy Warhol or pop art or anything like that.
Yeah,
We're at that
it's really going to
stage
be
of
celebrating like UK music culture and and its origins, you know. So that'll be really interesting. The people that they choose. I'm pretty sure Goldie's got an installation in there, and you know, I think various people will have been asked, and it's really nice to document the history. And you know, I feel really privileged that, you know, we made an impact. As Kemi always said, I just want to make a difference, and she certainly did, you know what I mean? And you know, yeah, I do feel privileged that obviously we're doing something right, that I got asked, and our story is important, you know?
Definitely. From the origins to the brand new, I would like you to play a tune of Charla's, possibly a dub, if hopefully, because we like our dubs on this show, as
Well,
people know.
this is on its way to you. This is on its way to you. So, babe, you know, get your money out and be ready for this one, because you absolutely need it. This is Hold Tight.
Perfect. Hold Tight, was it? If my short-term memory is correct. Awesome. So, Charla, tell us all about that one then.
It's coming out on Run From Babylon EP on Function next week. But
next week?
Loads of sampling. The main, like, whoop, 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 whoop of that song is like this old... I found an old vinyl in a charity shop. It's like a flute, this flute guy, and he's like... I think he's like a Russian flute guy. Just like wobbled it around. Yeah. But yeah, I love a good bit of sampling.
Brilliant. The art of sampling. I mean, I'm not too sure if you're here while Zero T was talking about that there, really. And that's great that people are still sampling.
Yeah.
I've been asking this on quite a lot of the interviews. How do you feel about spliced vocals?
I don't use Splice.
Yeah.
But like,
can we get a round of applause?
But if I find a sample, I like to like text them and make it my own. Like I don't like to just stick it in, and I like to have a good play around with it.
Yeah, definitely manipulate it and make it your own. Really,
it,
that's
like when you find
craft.
those random bits, and you're like, no one's ever gonna find this random thing. But yeah.
Right, I've got a USB for Degs, so I'm going to interrupt this because I think he's playing really soon, and he left his USB here. So this is live radio content. We've got people coming into the mix. Here we go. There we go. I don't know if you can see that camera, but Dex is in the background. There's your USB, man. Storm brought the storm. So what I'd like to kind of highlight is just, and we kind of done it like earlier on when you were saying about Zero T and stuff, these little connections, like they're everywhere when you look around. Within drum and bass, we are all linked, one degree of separation. So you kind of came through some of your earliest releases were on Drum and Bass Arena, along with Steve Digital as well, wasn't it? And obviously my connection being that I used to work with him for a fucking eon. Yeah. So these kind of like this, I've been looking forward to kind of meeting up with you because our paths have crossed so many times before anyway. And that's the beauty of this kind of scene, really, the kind of interrelated dots and how we all bounce off each other and inspire each other in that way.
You almost feel like it's a small world sometimes, right?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
There's in places like this.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like real recognises real really there, and I mean big up. There's Digital there. Big up the influence of Steve Digital on you as an artist, and kind of the guidance and inspiration that he's given you.
I met him through EQ50, and like he's just such a good egg, and like it's nice to meet people who you don't feel like, especially as a woman, you don't feel like they condescend you when they talk down. He's always just like real, like women don't. I don't know, there's no pretense with it, which is lovely, because like I've worked hard to like learn what I'm doing. It's not like you want to,
No, definitely, definitely. And big up EQ50 as well. As a graduate of EQ50, how was that whole experience for you in your career? Really?
Yeah, well, lovely. And again, to meet Steve and Jen and everyone, and it's in Flight and all of them really. It's lovely,
Yeah, it's about enabling really and connecting people and boosting people. There's so many tools out there now to get your music out there and to self-promote. But the actual ability to kind of get it out there, you still need that boost. You still need that stability.
To be part of like a little, just like have people connections, because like I'm rubbish at like reaching out and stuff, so.
It's hard.
To just meet people in that way, like a bit natural, is nice.
Yeah. And crews were a really, really important part of the formation of this, and different crews would have their different sounds, as you would know, Jane. Really,
I mean, I think about the Metalheads family, you know, and, you know, the fact that they're celebrating their 30 years, you know, congratulations, really, you know, it's been around for such a long time, and it's created so many sounds and all different kind of things. But yeah, you know, I mean, that's kind of what Goldie wanted. He wanted to create a family, and, you know, we used to have all these wicked meetings, which obviously don't happen anymore, but it was exciting because the guys were kind of deciding what tunes, you know, they'd play tunes, and then they'd all sit and we'd decide what would come out and what would work best, and it was like a really nice, inter-family relationship that everybody, you know, and I do think that's it about drum and bass, that we're all very equal, you know what I mean? We all just know we're just humans at the end of the day who've got a passion, you know what I mean? I think it's interesting, I do a lot of multi-genre nights now, and I think like other kind of musics don't really, you know, they think we're a bit of a nightmare, drum and bass people, because they're all like really cool, and then I get on the bus, I'm like, you're all right. Oh, another bloody drum and bass person being happy. We're a really happy bunch, right? You know what I mean? I think we love what we do, and, you know, like me and Dom, and, you know, lots of people who came in when we did, we're still here, right? We're still loving what we do, or else we wouldn't do it. You'd be a fake, right? You know, you've got to be in it heart and soul.
Definitely. And from the origins again, we're going to go to the new. So I'd like you to pass the baton on to another new artist who's come through the campus. Steve, would you like to come off the camera now as well? There we go. So big up Charlotte and big up Storm. Yay! Thank you. And now we have,
Dave.
How are you doing, man? How are you doing? So, Tim, you've got an amazing story about how you linked up with Steve Digital, haven't you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Go on, tell us. You told me this in an interview, but this is for the streamers.
So, where's the camera there? Yeah. So, basically, about 2016, I was working at a car rental company called Enterprise Rent-A-Car on a grad scheme, and I saw this name come up on the system, had to call people up, and the name, it said Stephen Carr. And then I was like, and then I saw Steve Digital in the email address, and I went, let me just go on Discogs quickly and have a quick look. And I was like, oh my God, called the guy up, and it was like, I've been renting vans from Bracknell and Ipswich. And obviously he's from Ipswich, right? So I let them, they let me stay in the office, because you had to go out and pick people up and stuff like that. And he just walked in. I spent like 5 minutes just being like, pretending that I didn't know who he was, and then I was like, "You the drum bass producer of DJ Digital by any chance?" So that was 2016, and then I wasn't really making tunes back then. I was still just DJing and raving mainly.
Like into it as well, though, weren't you?
Yeah, so I've been into drum and bass since I was 11. So, like,
I remember you saying it was like one of the first CDs that you ever got was like an Addicted to Bass.
Yeah, so even before that, when I was little, there was like this big modified car scene in the UK, and everyone had these subwoofers in the back of their cars. And I remember getting into someone, it was like a family, parents, friend or whatever, and then there was this bass, and I was like, I want bass, right? So for my 8th birthday, I got a CD called Bass in Your Face, which had like garage, jungle, and new drum and bass at the time. This was 2002, but and then I sort of like just did the kid thing, because I just thought it was cool, but Then when I got to about 11, I saw this advert on TV for Drum and Bass Essentials by DJ Hype. So that was 2005.
I've still got that CD.
You still got it? It's a good CD.
Yeah.
It's quite jump upy, but I like Jump Up from back then, to be fair.
Yeah. So how did you stay in touch then with Digital? So you started producing, you stayed in touch. I think you saw him out and about in raves and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I was seeing him out of raves. I didn't really start producing until 2019, so it was about 3 years. But like I'd been seeing him, and like if he was about, I'd go to the gig and we'd have a chat and stuff like that. And then like a load of personal stuff happened. I mentioned to you on the interview. I'll just say it, my mum died basically like 6 years ago, 2018. So around then I was all lost and everything. And then about a year later, I just went, you know what? Like I know what I need to do. I need to actually do this with the tunes, because I've been like on Logic and FL Studio and stuff for years, but I would make a tune, think it wasn't good enough, leave it for a year, make a tune, think it wasn't good enough. But I didn't realise all that time I was actually learning stuff as I was going, even though it was like a bit self-pity-ish and all that stuff. I was still learning stuff. So then by the time that it came round to like 2019, I was like, you know what, like I'm going to send this to Steve, see what he thinks. And then that was it really. Like after that, like the rest is history really. Like especially the last 2-3 years, I've been rolling with him a lot. And he's got him and his girlfriend. They're just lovely people. So I'll go up to theirs quite often. And we'll just have we'll have some food, and then like the next day I'll make some tunes with Steve. And he's really helpful in like life as well, because obviously he's got 20 years of life experience over me, and I think like he's not just as like a mentor in music, but he's a bit of a mentor in life for me as well, to be honest.
Oh, that's amazing. Steve has made and helped so many careers. We're going to find out more now with Mad Vibes as well. Before we move on to Seba and Paradox, and hopefully Digital as well. I'm sorry I saw him walk over there, but he's not. I don't know if he's around or not. Anyway, I would like you to play a song. So this is Tim Clay, and because in fact, I think this is the first time a guest, because you haven't played, you're not on the lineup. This is the first time we've had someone who isn't on the lineup being interviewed on the show. But I mean, I think it's only a matter of time, and I think everyone will agree with me when you play a piece of your music.
Exclusive news, Tim will be my first booking next year. Yeah, so I'm the next booking next year, basically.
Wow! Wow,
Yeah,
okay, there we go. Storm has just dropped an exclusive there. So there we go. You must be buzzing to just
I
hear
am.
that.
I very much am. Yeah.
Sweet.
Especially after this week, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
You know.
Hasn't it just, man? I've got goosebumps again, but I think it just could be the cold weather and the rain and stuff and the breeze. No, I've got goosebumps. I'm excited for you. Play a piece of music and tell us what it is.
So this is Look Inside. This will be coming out on Function. I don't know when, but it will be out, I guess, either later this year or early next year. But yeah, there's a lot coming out of Function I've got and various other bits.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Play the tune.
All right, mate.
Don't touch that dial. It's One More Thing Sun and Bass Social with Dave Colombo Jenkins.
And Tim Clay. And
Inside.
Brilliant. No, I've not said inside. Inside. Anywhere near enough. I had a microphone in my hand 2 hours a day, and that's the first time I've said it. Thanks for reminding me that the word inside exists. Brilliant. Big up all the viewers in the chat. There we go. Big up Yasin. Big up Gooda. Big up the Complex Curve. Inside. Tim Clay, thank you very much. Packing the exclusives. We're going to keep things rolling with a very, very, very special guest. We got mad vibes. I just had to see if you actually fit in the screen then.
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it works. Hey, how you doing? It's Tony Mad Vibes.
Yeah, I mean, you are a resident with Sun and Bass, so I've been asking a lot of people about like the first Sun and Basses and stuff like that. You played that, you performed that every single Sun and Bass.
No, not every single. I think I came in on like the second or third. Third I think, yeah, and from there on, I was lucky enough to be here every year.
Wow. So how important is Sun and Bass to you personally?
It's New Year's.
Yay.
This is where the year actually starts and ends. So it's the most important date in the year.
Brilliant.
Once it's over, I'm going to start counting days when it's going to happen again.
Oh, wow. Like a lot of people, I think, it's an integral part of the calendar in that way. And you're closing out the entire festival. You'll be playing the last set.
Yes, I do have that big honor to do this again this year. So, for everybody who's still around on Saturdays, 4 to 5 closing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you closed it before? Is that kind of a tradition? Because I've only been here one time before and I've never stayed for the entire duration.
No, it's not a tradition in a way. I was just lucky enough that it happened the second time now, I think, yeah.
Cool, that's quite the honour. Now tell me about your productions as well. Because we're going to play something. Jane has insisted on a particular track, I believe, here. But tell us about your productions and where you're at.
What I'm going to say, I've been producing for quite some time. I'm an old guy.
Same.
There's not much to say about it. I've been in love with drum and bass since 1992 or 93. They didn't call it drum and bass back then, but it was all that kind of music just stuck with it for all the time, and I think I will stick with it for even longer. So.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's all good.
And you can stick with us, viewers, because we're going to listen now. I think it's Black Diamond. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So Jane has insisted that we play this tune of yours, Black Diamond. I've not played a CD in a long time. It's a really nice feeling.
It's the same buttons, bro. It's the same buttons.
So Storm is likening this to Photech, and it's definitely that vibe and that bounce. So tell us, this is a dub, isn't it?
It's been on dubplate for quite a while. As Outrage mentioned before, the dubplate culture, Steve makes sure it's still around. This tune has been on dub, I think, for 4 or 5 years or something.
Wow.
And there's another one on the EP. It's a 4-track EP. It's coming next month, I believe, on Function. And Steve, and especially Storm, she held tight to one of them tunes for 7 years. Been playing it for
And that's testament to the longevity of the music then, isn't it? When it's lasting that long. Yeah.
It's obviously a good tune doesn't age. Like a good wine, it actually gets better in a while. So they've been around. They will be around, I hope.
Yeah, definitely. And there's an EP coming out on Function.
Yes, EP is coming out on Function. Finally, next month, we all believe.
Wow.
And
brilliant. Please big up the influence of Steve, really, and digital, and the influence that he's had on you as a person in your career.
Oh, he has big influence. I know Steve for, I wish I knew, very long time. I can't even remember, but it's probably 15 years or something I've known him.
Wow.
I've met him in Oxford. I was seeing DJ Lee, who's a good friend, and we went to, I think it was Lee's birthday party that he did in Oxford, And that's where I met people like Total Science and also like Steve and Brillo back then. And yeah, Steve was such a good guy. We kind of just vibed from the very first time, and you know, he sent me tunes and I sent him music, and things just evolved over the years. We became friends. I made more music. He started liking it.
Brilliant. I mean, this is like, there's a repeated pattern really here in terms of kind of how digital lifts people up really. Hopefully we're going to get him on, but I'm really wary of time because we've only got like 18 minutes left. And the people who I thought were actually going to open the show with me and have been waiting incredibly patiently are about to come on, and this is really special. And Jane's hovering now, waiting for a CD, but she's not going to let these dubs out of her sight. Unlike Degs, who just let me look after his USB for an entire day. CD, there we go. Thank you very much, Storm. Thank you very much, Mad Vibes. That was very impromptu, and it would be great to talk to you a little bit more about like the history of the festival and stuff. So maybe I'll talk to you afterwards, but maybe we might see you again tomorrow, because I'd like to give you a little bit more airtime and find out a bit more about your journey, your relationship with the festival as well, as we wrap up tomorrow. If you're around,
yeah,
brilliant.
We can do it.
Okay,
just hit me up and I'll be back in.
Excellent. Right, okay, so Mad Vibes, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. So now we are about to welcome two very, very special guests, one of whom is seldom seen on camera. Some people are unsure if he even exists. Of course, they know he exists. It's one of the absolute legends, along with another absolute legend. We have Seba and Paradox. How are we doing? Come on. This and a Dom and Roland peeking over the front of the decks. This is a really surreal setup. So thank you to everybody who's watching us on the Twitch. And now I welcome Seba and Paradox. And you're having a cup of coffee, so you're going to have to start. I mean, I really...
Coffee. PG, mate.
Oh, tea. Go on.
I only do PG tips.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
I'm the one doing coffee. We were actually saying before that one of us is a bit shy being in front of the camera, and one of us is being shy being on the microphone.
But between the two of you, so I mean, if you stand in front of Dev and you talk and you mime and just say, like, just move your mouth up and down, then maybe we can create like the ultimate kind of
What you said,
fusion.
isn't it? Or it was someone else. Someone said, like, why don't you do that?
Someone said that.
Yeah, someone said. There you go.
Outrage suggested that.
Oh, yeah, Outrage.
Yeah.
Now, I've been quite famously bad with my research because I'm interviewing on the spot and stuff, but I did look up one thing this morning. You can correct me if I'm wrong. There's a high chance I am wrong. But I believe this year actually marks 20 years of you two releasing music together. I think the first release was in 2004 for the two of you together.
You're wrong.
Well, of course, this is the Sun and Bass tradition. Like,
Well,
okay.
my musician's dementia, I thought it was... No.
Okay,
What
so I'll tell you. The first time we started working together was shortly after I left Good Looking Records, and I was in a bit of a hole. I didn't want to do drum and bass anymore. I was working with a Swedish house label, and Dev was like, he literally said like, right, I need a remix from you.
Hey.
Like, okay, so I did a
very
remix, and he's like, oh, it's fucking brilliant. Can we do flip side? I'm like, oh, don't know. So he's like, okay, I'll come over to Sweden and we'll do a track together.
Wow.
And that was...
Dragged it back into it.
Yeah. I think it was 2001 or 2002, something like that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I'm only a few years out.
Yeah.
That's better than other errors that I've made, even in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Because I was like, I'm done with drum and bass.
Yeah,
Fuck this,
true.
Wow. Okay, I mean, there's been a lot of positive chatter and stuff, but there are moments where a lot of people, I'd say quite a lot of people on the lineup, have had that, when you dedicate your life to an art form, there are ups and downs. There are moments where you feel that it's all going against you, really, and then there are other moments where things are, kind of feel like they're all coming together. But the pair of, I think, the similarity for you two is that you've carved your own lane and you do your own thing. And maybe that's why you see eye to eye and why you work well together and complement each other so well, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, we stick to our guns, We just
It's the reinforced ethos.
We just do what
it's
we've been
something that
doing for 30 years.
imprinted in us.
We don't compromise,
Yeah.
We just do what we do.
Yeah.
That's why he's still using a 30-year-old computer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, this always blows my mind. It's not the same one though. Do you keep a lookout for?
This is the 9th one, but it's the same unit in a sense. So I have to go to eBay.
And replace
Well,
parts.
this is before Brexit. When I could easily get them in the post. But this is the 9th Commodore that I've used.
Wow.
Full sequencing from the 90s. So big up Commodore for keeping my career alive, because even in Japan, some people come to see the Commodore. They don't come to see me. They want to see the QWERTY keyboard. That's what it is. That's the real truth.
Whoa! So we've actually had our first audience question there. That's brilliant. Why a Commodore then? Because I thought it was.
The funny thing is, I've never been a gamer, and for some reason, I think it was the cheapest version at the time in the 90s.
Come on through. This is a really weird.
I think it was the cheapest version in the 90s. I'm not sure, but the program that I use is it's a drum programmer's dream, because I'll be completely honest, we're in 2024 and the sequences that Dom and Roland and he uses are bloody retarded. Like when you go out to a club and you listen to music, you know, you don't nod left to right listening to breaks.
I do.
You're up and down. You're up and down.
No, I'm like this.
And this is
I'm like this. What are you talking about? I'm like this.
My grooves come from the funk swing feel of nodding my head as well. So when I'm in his studio, I'm always, even a few months ago, I have to look sideways a bit to see the drum programming.
Is it Octamed then?
Yeah.
Is that the one that you use as well? Because when I see videos of that, I think, what the hell? I can understand the side scrolling.
It's a
from
different
games,
code.
perhaps.
It's a different code, but it's a breakbeat programmer's dream. The way I can get ideas by loops folding over things in real time. There's something that you can't do on a DAW. And even Marky said to me, "Oh, Dave, God, I'd love to just come into your studio just for an hour and watch you do all this." And I'm like, "Mate, you won't enjoy that. I can make you a cup of tea, but you won't enjoy that." But yeah, it's something that I've stuck with it.
Sounds more that you can be spontaneous and you can kind of manipulate things as you're hearing them. So instead of kind of automating it, you're playing it more in a way.
Look, I'm severely limited in what I can do compared to what Seba can do.
I was about to say that, because like even though you can do things that I can't do, sometimes we sit in the studio and he was like, "What you just did in 15 minutes will take me 2 weeks."
It's true, very true.
Oh wow!
Very true.
Okay,
very true.
So
very
much
true.
for the disparaging remark that you made about modern doors. But it's the different strokes, and it's what you want, that kind of. I guess it's the rawness, perhaps, or the intuitiveness, and what you
completely. The my sound. The funny thing is, when I come back on Seba's, I listen to what's coming out of my studio, and sometimes I feel a little bit too lo-fi as well when I come from his studio. But when it comes to the break side, it's this low bit rate is what I love, is what is similar to my tracks, I think, and my drums, and it does cut through on a system.
So it's that crunch, it's
Yes.
that graininess, it's that texture.
Tomorrow night you'll be able to hear it because it's unprocessed, and I love it. I love it.
No, I mean, you told me, we were chatting away last night in the gazebo at Amber Night, like your whole setup, because of the unique kind of tools that you're using, it comes with a whole other load of complications. And we were actually going to talk on the Friday, but that's your sound check day, and that could well take an entire day.
Yeah, I mean,
last year
Sun
was
and Bass are
complicated.
notoriously bad for sticking to soundcheck times, so I have to make sure the whole afternoon is free in order to sort this out.
And also because of the live, because you had problems with bass bins last year.
Yeah. Last year the bass bins were vibrating the gangway sockets, and it was just turning off. So I'm going back to my original position that I performed in 2017, I think. But they've bolted these tables and chairs to the floor.
They have.
So I've got I think no one will be able to see from the stage, but I might be performing with one leg up on a table.
Down on one knee almost.
for the whole set.
Wow.
So, but it's going to be good. I'm going to be doing lots of mixed race stuff and Seba and Paradox stuff.
Go on, amazing, amazing. So you're going to do some mixed race stuff, and I was going to bring that up because obviously we pay tribute a lot at Sun and Bass. We pay tribute a lot to all of the fallen soldiers. Mixed race, in case anybody didn't know, also involved Lecky as well, didn't it?
Yes.
So rest in peace, Lecky, like the original designer of the junglist movement. Kind of one of the most important aspects of the culture in terms of the fashion side, really, and a huge loss to the scene as well. But that's how far that was your original.
Yes, it was DJ Trax who
just
we've
released
booked.
an album recently. He's here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's here. He's on the line as well. So he was. Me and Leke were rappers, and I was the brown assassin, and
brilliant.
Go on, drop some bars.
And I can't remember what Leke's MC name was, to be honest. Oh no, MC Ever Ready. That's what he was.
MC Ever Ready.
We made a couple of tracks, and then Leke realised that. Actually, he wasn't quite good at rapping. I thought I was the best, obviously. I'm born in August. So then he left and he went on to do the junglist movement. And then me and Trax went on to Moving Shadow in 1991 and signed to Moving Shadow in 1991. And started making hardcore. Yeah. Well, we thought it was hip-hop music, to be honest, because it was 180 BPM.
Wow. Yeah.
Because we didn't have a BPM counter. When we were kids.
So you just go in it again intuitively, really. Yep. That's kind of been the thing. I'd like to play a piece of music because then I want to talk about a really important project that you've both been involved in this year. Please, can you play a tune? I think you've just been lining up a tune, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I did. That works out.
Oh, this is a nice one.
Yeah.
Tell us about this. Well, we've got the intro and people can hear us talking.
Yeah, this is a classic Sun and Bass tune. I mean, we play this a lot at Sun and Bass. It's a track with Robert Monas called "Lie to Me," and Robert is not here this year, so we just want to fill in with Robert because he's missing out. Yeah, we're missing him.
Big up Robert Monas, iconic voice across all of the genres as well. You know. Lends himself to house music just as much as other kind of styles.
Totally.
To be able to show you what the camera can't show you, but we've got a Dom and Roland kind of making gestures right in front of the setup here, and DJ Storm just dancing in the rain underneath the shelter. This is classic Sun and Bass. It's beautiful.
Storm in the rain.
'Cause I don't wanna know the truth. Better if you lie to me. 'Cause I can't handle this.
So in the interest of time, we are going to have to fade that out.
Oh, right.
Where's he off to? What's he doing? Are you picking a tune or are you...
He doesn't like being camera.
He doesn't like. He's kind of sandwiched between us there. Come on, close though, because no. You're in shock completely with your PG tips. Yeah. Now, tell us about a really important project that you've been involved in Ukraine, because this has been a big thing for you guys this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've been. What have we been doing? We've been doing a charity in Ukraine, in Kiev. It's just to support, what's going on over there.
Yeah.
So we've done it 2 years now.
Yeah, 2 shows.
Yeah.
And what? So these are kind of concerts then?
Yeah, it's sort of, I was going to say government funded, but it's not really. It's sort of a platform which is government funded, but it's so they what they do really.
Well, basically we're performing, and all the money goes to help rebuild children's hospital destroyed by the Russians.
And we bring stuff like T-shirts or whatever, and they can put that on sale, or they even did an auction with my album, which I think it went for like 1,500 euros.
Yeah,
I was like,
wow!
I wish I'd got that for every time I sell an album.
You wouldn't be here chatting now.
And in July, when we performed, halfway through our show, there was air raid sirens, and the music was halted.
Wow!
And hearing these, it's just surreal, to be honest. And in true Ukrainian fashion, about an hour it was. Generators back up, music comes back on.
I must
Just
say,
amazing.
The resilience
we've been
of it.
both very, on our social medias, we've been very supportive to Ukraine. My wife is Ukrainian, so I've been posting a lot of things that's going on, just, to for awareness, because there's a lot of thing that happens that you won't see in the news. And I'm just trying to share that, and obviously people that follow us in Ukraine, they really like that, and this is why we get involved in this as well.
You've had recognition, like a kind of key to the city, or it's like there's a kind of
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, we even got a diploma that is just like a letter of appreciation from this government-funded organization. Like, thank you for doing this and all that. So
I think that's really important. I think this is what we're going to sign out on, really, is the power of music and the power of being able to, if there is a bit of a position, I'm quite outspoken about certain things in the UK. You mentioned Brexit, pardon my French, really, but, I think sometimes it's really important to use any type of elevation that we can to get a message out there, and it's a very kind of sensitive line, and some people believe that music should not involve politics, but I believe that if anything breaks down barriers and unites people, and we can share messages and share information and support each other, it's really important that we do.
Well, people that think that music and politics doesn't mix together should stop listening to rap music and punk for a start.
Yeah, and jungle, or there was a famous thing with Rage Against the Machine where somebody tweeted saying, like, can you leave politics out of it? It's like, which part of Rage Against the Machine, which machine did you think we were raging against then? The washing machine? Or something like that. It was Tom Morello tweeted that back.
Of course it's the washing machine. It keeps breaking down all the time.
It makes really annoying noises in the kitchen. It's doing my head in. Can't watch EastEnders. No, but it is really important, and I think that's where we're going to wrap up, because we are done with our 2 hours here. But also, on a kind of lighter note, because you also, in that type of community-minded way, one of my favourite things about you that I learned in an interview a while ago, and I'd always noticed at the end of records, you leave a clean loop at the end of lots of records for people to sample, or with certain records that you have done. And I think that's amazing, not holding on to things, but passing it on and spreading that and democratising it, really, and making it accessible.
It was something that was engraved in me by Digo, to be honest.
Go on.
Coming through the reinforced ranks in the 90s. So he was like, look, Dev, let's keep the scene evolving. So giving away these Sample Me tracks, I think I'd done like 17 versions of the Sample Me's, and it's something, and that went on for me doing this Wax Break series.
That was it, yeah.
Just vinyl only, and I'm actually going to do a new one next year as well. But Wax Break's free, and it's like I say, we are all like break beaters. Jungle is breakbeat, funk is breakbeat. That's where it's from, and anyone that's new into jungle now, we need that raw side back into it that digital puts into function, and me and Seba, like, that's one of our big, very militant stances we take in our music, and there'll be lots more coming out in 2025.
For me, breakbeat is the most important ingredient in drum and bass. This is why I started doing this music. I grew up in a rave scene in Sweden with people that went away and did like complete different, my friends that I used to go out with, like Adam Beyer.
Right, and Jesper Dahlbach.
Yeah. Jesper Dahlbach is like one of my closest friends.
Right, wow.
So,
wow.
yeah, no, really.
And that's Sweden is best known for its techno, not its house mafias.
First time I met Adam, we were like doing a live performance on stage, and he was doing some breakbeat stuff, and he went from there to trance music, and then he started doing techno, and now everyone knows who Adam Beyer is. So, but I kind of could have gone that path, but the one thing that just like got me into another path was the breaks. That it has to have the breaks, you know, and that's our, I think it's a common thing.
Exactly.
We work with breaks.
Definitely, I think it's a common, it's the universal language which carries through so much of that and brings it together and lends itself to the melting pot in that type of way, in those kind of samples and stuff like that. So I think now, we have gone over time. Thank you for everybody who's watched, but I think we've got enough time to play one more piece of music and sign out, really, haven't we?
Yeah, and I was queuing up a track because, speaking of breaks, here we go.
Tell us about this. This is what we're signing out with. I'd like to thank everybody who's been watching on Facebook, YouTube and Twitch. We've had quite a lively audience. There's been lots of nice comments and stuff in the chat and loads of viewers across all of the channels, so that's been great. Tell us all about this, please, Seba.
Yeah, so this is, it's called Thinking and Perceiving, and it's a straight up Amen tune. Straight up Amen tune. Straight up Amen, yeah. Well, you'll see.
A reflection in my mind.
This is our 25th 12-inch actually. It's our 25th 12-inch together, yeah.
Sick. So much. We are ending with some powerful breakbeats. Let's have a massive round of applause for everybody's guests, Seba and Paradox, the Function crew, and Zero T. This has been absolutely amazing. We've had so many guests through today. The stream has been pretty consistent as well. Thank you to all of you who have been staying with us on the stream and stuff and on the chat. And also massive big ups to Paradox, because this is one of the very rare times he's been on kind of camera, and I really appreciate that, and thank you very much for being up for this. And everybody who's got involved and everybody who's supported us, I'm going to finish with a jingle because I'm a professional.
You're in tune with the One More Thing Sun and Bass Social. Keep it locked.
Don't keep it locked. Go and have fun. Go and enjoy your life. We will be back for the final One More Thing Sun and Bass Social tomorrow, Friday at 1 o'clock Central European Time, 12 o'clock UK time. Thank you very much. Peace.